Welcome to the Agape Center. And here we are on this magnificent February 14th, Valentine's Day. And here in Texas, it is icing and snowing. It's like 20 degrees. It's going to get down to about 5 degrees today. We're supposed to get another 3 to 6 inches of snow. So it's a day to hunker in. So I want you to know this is the first time I'm actually doing Sunday celebration from my home. And I know it's going to be just magnificent because it's you and me. And so if you're out there, wherever you are, I invite you to check in. Write down your name. You don't even have to write down your name. Just put your comment in there. Where are you watching from? And what is it about Valentine's Day? Is it special for you? Is it not special for you? Do you expect gifts or don't you expect gifts? I want you to know that this morning, my wife and I, we looked at each other. It's Valentine's Day. And we sort of looked at each other. Well, so what? Why? Because every day is a day of love. Every day should be a day of love. It's not about getting candy. It's not about cards. It's not about flowers. It's not about diamonds and jewelry. That's external. Those things don't last forever. Now, if you disagree with that, put it in the comments. I'm okay with that. I'm not attached to what you believe. I'm here to explore with you this idea of love. And what does it mean to be loved, to be in love, to demonstrate love, to experience love? That's what agape is all about. Agape is Greek for unconditional love. In fact, there's no reason to even say unconditional because love is either love or it's not. And we'll explore that further today. So let's take a moment and let's just sort of settle into this. So I invite you now to sit back wherever you are. Be comfortable. But make sure your back is straight. Your hands gently resting on your lap. And close your eyes. I invite you to focus in on your breathing. Breathing in and out. At first, let's take in 3 deep breaths. Take a deep breath in and release. Take a deep breath in and release. Take another one in and release. Now gently begin to breathe in and out through your nose. Now I want you to bring your focus to your heart center, in the center of your chest, right here. And as you do that and you breathe in, feel your heart is opening. And on the exhale, feel your heart is purifying. That anything that may cause your heart to not open just falls away. The breath is powerful. The breath can clear anything. And so by the conscious intent that our breath is nourishing and purifying, we allow our heart to have that experience. Our heart is our human nature for feeling, for connecting to that divine emotion within. And with it open, we can feel purely. We can feel and yet observe. We can observe the feeling of bliss. We can observe the feeling of not bliss. And the heart remains unattached. It just feels. Now bring your awareness to your third eye. That space between your eyebrows in the center of your head. That's the divine eye that does not see duality. It sees oneness in everything. And so we consciously breathe into the divine eye to clear it. It's like wiping the lens of a camera with a magnificent cloth that cleans it so perfectly, so that we are now able to look at life as God looks at life, as infinite intelligence looks at life, as pure consciousness looks at life, seeing the balance and the perfection of everything that is. And we just sit with that just for a moment, feeling what our heart feels, seeing what our third eye sees. And notice a sense of deep peace that goes from the tip of your toes to the top of your head, to the tip of your fingers on your right hand, to the tip of your fingers on your left hand. Pure peace. Pure love. This is like a spiritual reboot. You're reprogramming your computer, your temple, to divine frequency. And it is here that you can go through life with a greater sense of consciousness, awareness, peace, love, and power. So embrace it and take 3 breaths in, gentle, easy breaths of gratitude into your body. And with that anchored in your body, I invite you to start to move your fingers, move your toes, and come back to this perfect time, to this perfect place. Well, today we continue with my talk series, The Book of Love. But today we're going to go and we're going to talk about self-love. And if you recall last week, and if you haven't talked about last week, I want you to know that last week we talked about what is love. So I thought maybe just a quick refresher, just a very fast refresher about that is that for me, love is the state of total acceptance. You see, I believe that love and acceptance are interchangeable. So that when I look at you and I say, I love you, I'm simply saying, I accept you as you are, all of you, not part of you, but all of you, physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. I accept all of you. So when you look at it that way, love is what? It's the act of accepting. In everything you look at, it's the act of accepting. And we talked about the difference last week between liking and lusting and loving. I understand there's 3 L's there. And sometimes we get confused and we think lust is love. We think like is love, or we think like and lust is love. And we forget about total acceptance. Total acceptance is perfect love. The others are ego-driven, based in judgment. And we've all come to understand that love and judgment cannot coexist. They're opposite of each other. So when we know that, it just makes life so much easier for us. And so what I've come to understand, before we get really deep into self-love, I want to share with you this idea. And this is my number 1 spiritual practice. This is the number 1 thing we teach at Agape, and that is meditation. And the reason we teach meditation is because meditation frees us from the attachment to our body, our mind, and it is the ultimate act of self-love. Because it frees us. When we become unattached, we become non-judgmental. When we become non-judgmental, it's pure love. We're seeing life through the eyes of the divine. So when we look at self-love, the thing I want to understand even more every moment of every day is that self-love is to consciously know who we are. It's to know that we're more than this body, we're more than this mind, but we're actually in a point of consciousness with an infinite point of consciousness. We're a child of God. We're an individualization of that which created all things. But we're also here with a human body and a mind, and there's something about who we are that is desiring to experience itself. So to self-love, we must first define who we are, and then we must let go of the opinions of what others think we should be. So I invite you to look at yourself and ask the question, are you being the person you want to be? Or are you being the person your mom and dad want you to be? Are you being the person your friends want you to be? Are you being the person your partner wants you to be? Are you being the person your church wants you to be? Are you being the person your children want you to be? Or are you being the person you want to be? It takes time to develop who it is you want to be, because most of the time we've not been taught to think like that. We've been taught to focus on what others want us to be. From the time we came out of our mother's womb, our mom and dad have had an opinion about who we should be. And we have been programmed. And remember, the first 7 years of our lives, our brains are in theta state. Theta state is a state of hypnosis. So whatever was put in front of us, suggested to us, we blindly accepted. And that became the foundation for everything else that we started to experience from that point forward. What I'm suggesting is that if it's today is the first day, that's great. If it was yesterday, that's great. If it was 5 years ago, that's great. But we must take back our power, and we must learn to control for ourselves. And that's the key. You see, it is through self-love, and only through self-love, that we can begin to live authentically. And by authentic, I mean being our real self. And once you become your real self, you understand that it is only when we are authentic that we can love ourselves and we can let others love us for who we are. But you see, if we're not authentic, if we're not being our real self, how can we accept ourselves? Because we're trying to be something other than ourselves. We don't even believe that we're enough because we're trying to be something different than who we are. In this moment, this is Lee. As you see him right now, this is Lee. I'm being me to the best of my ability. Will I be this Lee tomorrow? No, I'll probably change a little bit. But this Lee right now that you're seeing is Lee. I put that out there and I accept him as I am right here, right now. And because I've done that, I'm giving you the opportunity to see me as I am and to accept me as I am. Physically, you see what I look like. Mentally, you can hear what I'm saying. You can form opinions about where I'm at mentally. What am I talking about? Am I in integrity? Am I authentic? But most importantly, you can accept whatever you see, hear, feel, sense. Now you're in love with Lee. And now together we can be in love with each other by doing that same thing. You see, it's so beautiful because self-love is to accept without judgment where we are, and in so being able to be fully present in this moment. And isn't that where everything exists, in the now? But you see, when we're in judgment and we're in the past or we're in the future, we're not in the moment. And if we're not in the moment, we're not in love. Self-love is always seeking to experience an ever-expanding sense of fulfillment. What I've come to understand is that all we care about of coming into this body is to be able to give and receive love and to be fulfilled. And to be fulfilled, it's about ever expanding because we are part of the infinite consciousness. And as such, we are never stagnant. We're always seeking to express and to experience more. So what is the process of becoming more self-loving? I thought you'd want to know that because this is the single most important thing that we do. Working on self is the beginning point of all love. It is the realization point. So here's what it is. The first part of the process is to know who you are. To know who you are spiritually. You are one with all that is. You are an individualization of that which created everything. Physically, this body temple is who you are. Mentally, there's something unique about you that is desiring to experience. That experience is what makes you unique. At Agape, we talk about understanding what are your top 5 values, your number 1 through 5, maybe even only your number 1 through 3. And when you understand those 5 values and you live them, you know who you are because you're doing that which is most important to you, which gives you the greatest joy. But more importantly than joy, fulfillment. So once you know who you are, and that's not a simple task, that's a big task, then it's the process of letting go who you are not. Letting go of the opinions of others and what they want you to be. Now, I'm going to warn you, when you start letting go of who you're not and you stop pleasing others, guess what? They may not like it. They may not like you because they haven't figured out that love is not. It is not continuing. No, I've got that wrong. It's not contingent. That's the word I wanted. Love is not contingent. It is fully accepting. And once you let go of who you're not, now you've got to love who you are. You've got to accept yourself as you are right here, right now, in your fullness, every moment of every day, and live it. And then once you've accepted who you are, your job now is to love your purpose, your reason, and how you're expressing yourself in life. What are you bringing to life? What are you creating in life? Who are you creating with? You are bringing that in and you just love your purpose. You can't wait to get up every day to do what you do because it's who you are. You see, it goes back to that again, doesn't it? Number 1 step, know who you are. Then let go of everything you're not. And then love who you are. And then love your purpose because it's who you are. And when you love your purpose, then you can love what you do. You're not doing things because you're obligated. You're not doing things because you don't want to. You're doing them because you love to do them, because they serve you. And when they serve you, they also serve others. Once you've done that, now we can move out and we can begin to love who we are doing it with. You see, until we become authentic, until we become real, how can you love doing something with someone when you don't even love yourself? But when you love yourself, you can love doing it with others. I love doing things with my wife, with my sons, with my friend Naranjan, with my friend Marcia and Larry, with other friends that are in my life. I love doing things with them because with them, I'm always being Lee. And they are always being them. And it's fun. It's absolute fun to be with them. And you see, one of the things about love is always expanding. So the next step of the process is to love who are you becoming. My number 1 value in life, my number 1, not my number 2, number 3, is to become more aware. So if I'm becoming more aware in every moment, I have to always be free to let go of who I was and embrace who I now am and love who I'm becoming. See, the more you become, the clearer the picture of who you are is. And that's a magnificent thing. So when you start painting this portrait of yourself, it's one thing. But the more aware you become, you start painting some fine differences in that picture. And so you've got to love who you become. I was not this Lee when I was 21, 22 years of age. But this Lee in front of you now is truly as much of an authentic expression of God as I can be, that I'm aware of. And that includes all of my wrinkles, all of my beauty, all of my smiles, everything about me. I'm becoming more, and every day I will become more. You see, once you know who you are, once you let go of who you're not, once you love who you are, once you love your purpose, love what you do, love who you're doing it with, love who you're becoming, then the only other thing left to do is to live in gratitude, because you truly have a life that is aware and a life that is fulfilling. And there is nothing better than that. You see, I believe our purpose is to create and experience a life of love and fulfillment. The key thing is you've got to figure out what that is, and you've got to live it. And no one else can do it for you. People can support you on your journey, and that's what we do at Agape. But we can't do the work for you. It's an inner burning from within that cannot wait to express itself, that's desiring to be made known in every moment. It never leaves you. The desire to know who you are, to define what turns you on, to live from that, to experience love like it's never been felt before, and to feel fulfilled. When you're on your deathbed and you're being asked by whatever 2 questions: were you loving? And were you fulfilled? And you can say yes, you've truly lived the most magnificent life. What I believe is that everything begins and ends with self-love. Let us pray. And so we simply let go, and we go within to that point of consciousness within us that is one with all that exists. This single one point of consciousness is infinite. It is part of the infinite nature that we call universal intelligence, consciousness, divine mind, spirit, God, whatever you want to call it. It is all powerful. It is all knowing. It is everywhere present. All wisdom exists within it. It has always been, always will be. It is here right now. It is seen. It is the unseen. It is the unknown. It is the known. It has always been. It always will be. I know that I and you are one with it in every moment. And I take that in and I make that clear within my mind. And what I do right now is I call forth the infinite wisdom that is within me and that is within each of you. And know that the clarity, the wisdom of the infinite now births itself to bring a clear mental image, a clear picture to me of who I am and to you of who you are. That picture is so clear that it cannot be mistaken. The words, the emotions that are necessary to describe that picture now make their way known in my mind and in your mind, because they are known within the infinite mind. And I know with that clear picture, we now step into that image, into that likeness, into that energy that we are. And that energy fills us and becomes us. With that clarity now firmly implanted within me and knowing that it's fully implanted within you, I go into a state of gratitude. And I give thanks for this wisdom, for the clarity, for the birthing of the very foundation from which we can love ourselves. We can be authentic. We can live on purpose. We can share it as we work with others. We can live, we can love, and we are fulfilled. And for this, I am so eternally grateful. And I bless this prayer. I bless this wisdom, and I allow it to be. And so it is. Amen. Well, we've got a lot of great things coming up at Agape. Let me just share that on February 21st, we're going to have our annual community meeting. That'll be at 1 o'clock if you're interested. All the information I'm going to talk about right now, it's in our website, agapespiritualcenter.com. Just go to the calendar and you'll find everything you need there. I want you to know that we're about to start 3 classes in the beginning of March. I think March 7th, I think we're starting our first class, then March 8th, and then March 9th. So if you're interested in participating in a class, because that's where we start to go deep, now is the time to think about it and to sign up. What a great Valentine's gift. The ability to wake up your awareness. Sign up today. Also, I would love to have you make a contribution to Agape. And you can see that there's a link in the description below. If not, you can go to agapespiritualcenter.com and make a donation so that we can take this work and bring it to so many places in the world that have never heard about personal responsibility, self-empowerment, the truth about love, and that love is within. All of the contributions we receive are about expanding this power and presence to the world. So if you receive something, know that the greatest thing you can do for yourself is to give back. Remember that life and energy is always circular. So I invite that. I want you to know that at Agape, we teach one thing. We teach that there's an agreement that we have to have an adult relationship. And that agreement is you have to ask for what you want when you want it. I'm asking you to support Agape. But here's why I want to say that. If you need support, the best thing and only thing you really need to do is to ask for it. I say this week in and week out with all of the community. We can't read your mind. But if there's a way that we can spiritually support you as you grow, as you become more, that's our purpose. So with that in mind, I want you to have the most incredible day because you are worthy. And I want you to know that if no one says this to you today, I will. I love you and I accept you just like you are. Until next time, be you, because that's all love wants. Aloha.